Nobody cared who I was till I put on the mask. This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we shine a light on the mysterious disappearance of 3 lighthouse keepers from the isolated Flannan Isles.
Shine a light.
That's right. It's a pun.
Off to a great start.
That's right, a punny start.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They really upgraded our office this season.
We really knocked down that wall. I didn't realize how beautiful it was behind
Well, open concept is in now,
Yes,
so I
yes.
thought it would be nice to have us out here. What do you think about lighthouses?
Well, we know I love them. I want to live in one and I want to die in one.
Do you think you could ever be a lighthouse keeper?
100%.
What if I told you you were going to disappear?
Sounds good.
All
After this year? Ay, ay, ay. Just a little 2020 humor. Ooh, I didn't realize how much I could slap my thighs out here without the desk in front of us.
Should we get into it?
Please. Oh.
The Flannan Isles, also known as the Seven Hunters, is a group of uninhabited rocky islands off the western coast of Scotland. The mysterious islands allegedly had a profound effect on sheep, and shepherds would sail their flocks to the islands to graze. Sheep who dined on the grasses of the Flannan Isles were said to give birth to twins or recover from illness. Despite its positive effect on sheep, legend of a spirit haunting the islands kept any shepherd from staying overnight.
That can't be real. Sheep magic? What are you talking about, huh?
Well, apparently it was not so much the sheep that were magical, it was the grass.
Magic grass for double sheep?
For twin sheep or for a sheep with a cold.
Okay.
Nevertheless, in 1896, the Board of Trade sanctioned construction of a lighthouse on the largest of the Flannan Isles, Eilean Mor. Eilean Mor is also home to some bothies, a Scottish term for a small hut that now sit in ruin, as well as the chapel of St. Flannan, the namesake for the islands. In December of 1899, the lighthouse was completed and lit for the first time. 4 lightkeepers were assigned to the lighthouse, each of whom would work a staggered rotation of 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off. This meant there were always 3 men on the island tending the lighthouse at one time.
Good to have pals.
It's nice to have company when you're stranded on an island.
Well, I guess if you don't have any fellas around, you got those sheeps anyway.
Well, just nice to not die alone, you know? I mean, this is unsolved, so things aren't going to happen that are great.
In mid-December 1900, 1 year after the lighthouse was first put in service, the 3 men stationed on the island were James Ducat, the 43-year-old principal keeper with a wife, 4 children, and 20 years experience; Donald MacArthur, the married 40-year-old occasional keeper who was covering for the first assistant keeper who was on sick leave; and Thomas Marshall, the youngest of the trio at 28 and the second assistant keeper. The 4th keeper, Joseph Moore, wasn't on the island as it was his 2 weeks off.
So youngest was 28 years old.
That's right.
How old are you right now, 29?
I'm 29, so let me put myself
Put yourself
into the
there.
mind. If you could choose your fate,
Would you?
would you?
Lighthouse. Lighthouse. I love working at the lighthouse.
What is going on with your face?
I love. Give me one impassioned one. I want to hear from you. Now that we've workshopped it.
love working at the lighthouse.
I don't know, man. I love
working at the lighthouse.
Working. This isn't offensive, I don't think. I
It's fine.
apologize.
If you're Scottish and you're offended by this, you should be.
Around midnight on December 15th, the steamship Arctur passed near the Flannan Isles. Captain Holman noted that he could not see the light, though the conditions should have allowed him to. When the Arctur arrived in port, it reported the absence of the light, though this was never communicated to the Northern Lighthouse Board.
Pretty active board, I'm imagining there.
Are the lights on? Yep. Good.
Okay, check.
Then just kicks back. Yeah.
This is
another
alive.
day of hard work. Another day of hard work.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
On December 26th, the lighthouse tender ship Hesperus made a routine visit to Eilean Mor. When nearing the island, Captain James Harvey found it odd that there was no flag on the flagpole. The Hesperus sounded her horn to try to get the attention of the 3 lighthouse keepers, but there was no response. They then attempted firing a flare. Again, no reply. Joseph Moore, the fourth lighthouse keeper, was on board the Hesperus. With no signal coming from the island, Moore was sent ashore. Upon arriving at the Alan Moore's East Landing, nothing appeared amiss. Everything was where it had been when Moore had last been on the island. Moore made his way up to the island where he found the entrance gate, the entrance door, and the door after that all closed. The kitchen door was found open, however, and the fireplace had not been lit for several days. All of the clocks were stopped. According to Moore, quote, "I then entered the rooms in succession, found the beds empty just as they left them in the early morning," end quote. With no sign of anyone, Moore realized something was seriously wrong and returned to the Hesperus to get more men to help him investigate. They found the lamp of the lighthouse to be in working order and fully prepped, but there was no clue as to what happened to the 3 missing men.
So Moore went ashore to knock on the door, is what you're saying.
You're right. I like that. I always find that when people are missing and nothing is out of place except the people,
Spooky.
very eerie. There's something about it.
Eerie. I guess it would be scarier if it was like blood everywhere, but
I actually don't think so. I think that would be a bit much. It takes a little more nuance to scare the Burgmeister, as all of you have seen on every episode of this show.
Moore and 3 others were left on the island to operate the lighthouse while the Hesperus sailed back to telegraph the Northern Lighthouse Board of the disappearances. The next day, Moore and the others set about the island searching for more clues. While the East Boat Landing, where Moore had arrived the previous day, was in perfect order, it was a different story at the West Boat Landing. The West Boat Landing was damaged, and a box that had held tackle and mooring ropes was gone. The ropes were found strewn on the rocks, and the iron railings around the area had been broken, with some completely missing. That damage, however, was already detailed in the keeper's log, implying it was not directly related to the disappearance. Most notably missing upon further investigation was a life buoy for emergencies, which had been kept among the railings approximately 110 feet above sea level. The ropes holding the buoy in place, however, had not been removed by man, implying that the sea had ripped the buoy from its spot.
Some bad buoy business.
Seems kind of lazy, no? It's 110 feet up in the air and you're just like, yeah, it must have been the ocean that took that bad boy out.
110 feet up in the air?
Yes.
I don't get that. What?
I guess you could have like a big cowabunga wave, but
I'm not buying that.
then what are you buying?
Oh,
What's on the shelf?
I don't know. Oh, it's some object work. Yeah, go for it. What is that?
It looks
a
like
Gatorade?
No, it looks like a can of alien juice.
Is that where this is fucking going? Is that where this is going?
It doesn't have anything else on it. It just has alien juice.
Oh.
While some may question whether a 110-foot wave is possible, historian Mike Dash found evidence from a lighthouse keeper in the 1950s that water has splashed on Alan Moore as high as 300 feet up, wetting the lamp house. In fact, while trying to photograph these waves, the lighthouse keeper was almost washed away himself by a large wave.
Good for him.
Which, getting up there close and personal.
Scary to take a photo of a big wave.
You guy's gonna end up on Kook Slams.
Oh, he would end up on Kook Slams.
Whoa, it's slippery out here on these
1950s
rocks.
lighthouse keeper gets dunked. Hashtag nutbuster.
Back at the lighthouse, by taking inventory of the clothes left behind, Moore was also able to determine exactly what his coworkers had been wearing when they disappeared. MacArthur, in particular, had left behind the only coat he was known to wear, implying he had disappeared into the cold of a December in coastal Scotland without a coat. They also discovered the logs from the keeper's final days.
It doesn't say whether or not they were in the toilet.
I knew that's where he was headed. We had to let him go there. He's gone there.
Come on.
He's happy about it, and we can keep on moving.
Their final logs.
The last entry was from December 13th, but a slate had details from December 14th and 15th, including the time the light was extinguished on the morning of the 15th, as well as atmospheric readings as late as 9 a.m.
I didn't realize they were up to more than just flipping a switch.
Well,
So they're doing like readings and stuff?
They got to tend to the grounds too, upkeep.
Mow
I'm
the
sure
lawn.
that like when you mow the lawn, things like that,
Yeah.
make sure the fence has proper paint on it. If you're in a coastal area, the elements there could be harsh.
They probably are. yeah.
Erode away at the structure and your sanity.
Oh.
The salient point to take from all that is the fact that they weren't saying like, maybe my last log. I saw a big ass wave outside and it looks like it's coming towards me.
Sure.
Nothing like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, seemingly a normal couple days there.
The log noted morale had been low amongst the keepers. Peculiarly, it also made note of recent strong storms and winds, though there had been no reports of storms in the area. So, either the turbulent weather had been extremely localized over their islands, or the men had hallucinated or fictionalized the storms.
Have you ever been so jacked up that you imagined there was a thunderstorm outside your house?
Yeah. No, I haven't.
You didn't have too much of the devil's juice and you're like, oh, look at those clouds.
What if two of them are real mean and they're playing pranks on the third one?
They're creating a thunderstorm?
One source reports the discovery of additional logs made by the 28-year-old Thomas Marshall. Within, the second assistant keeper detailed how the storms had been so frightening they had caused the men to pray, even though their location atop a 150-foot cliff in a building that was only a year old practically guaranteed their safety. Marshall describes Ducat as being very quiet in recent days, and the gruff MacArthur had been seen crying. The final entry read, quote, "Storm ended. Sea calm. God is over all," end quote. While some have poked significant holes in the authenticity of these logs, even if true, they still don't offer much explanation for what could have happened to three vanished men.
Sometimes things could make you sad. You know all about that, right? Master of emotions.
I cry all the time. I cried at Little Women a year ago.
The film, right?
No, I just saw some Little Women on the street and I sobbed.
Why are they so little? It's the way you said it. It really sounded like you were at Ralph's and you saw some like little women picking out fruit.
So the storm was not the thing that wiped them out, if these logs are true.
That's not necessarily true because they could think the storm's over. I mean, how accurate do these guys? They're not Al Roker, you know, and he never gets it wrong.
He never does.
He never does.
Great guy. Love Roker. Shout out to Roker.
Big Roke head over here.
I'm a huge Roke head.
You watch him on Roku?
No, I watch him on NBC.
With the island completely searched and turning up few clues, there was one man who might still be able to shed some insight on the keeper's final days. One Roderick Mackenzie. Because there was no radio contact with the lighthouse, the men on Eilean Mor were essentially stranded. If something happened and they required assistance, they needed a way to signal to someone who could get help. Lighthouse keepers would do so using poles with balls or discs attached to them and placed coming out of the lighthouse balcony, hoping someone would spot their message. 18 miles southeast of the island is Gallon Head, where gamekeeper Roderick Mackenzie was paid £8 a year to watch for communications from the Flannan Isles. Each night, Mackenzie was to note whether he could see the light and whether any signals were seen during the day. When investigators checked in with Mackenzie after the disappearances, he reported that he had been unable to see the actual lighthouse tower between December 7th and December 29th. He had, however, been able to make out the light on December 12th, but not again until Moore lit it on the 26th. Mackenzie admitted the absence of the light for 2 weeks had concerned him, but there's no indication he reported this to anyone until the Northern Lighthouse Board came to question him.
So it's essentially his duty to check on them to make sure they're okay. And he couldn't see the lighthouse for 2 weeks. And was
Even
like,
worse,
ah!
it was his job to see if something was weird and then report it, and he was like, that's weird. Let's get back to this sausage I'm cooking.
Well, wait it out. It's only been 1 week and 6 days. We'll see how this shakes out.
Inaction was not what Mackenzie was being paid those £8 a year for. According to the National Lighthouse Board, Mackenzie had agreed to report a failure, quote, immediately by telegram to head office in Edinburgh so that the necessary steps could be taken to have someone sent to carry out any repairs as soon as possible, end quote. Had an actual lighthouse keeper been appointed to that role, he likely would have reported the darkness much sooner. It should be noted that Ducat, the principal keeper, had asked the lighthouse board's superintendent if an experiment of sorts could be done, with the aim of seeing how long it would take someone to notice a signal from shore and respond appropriately. Alas, the experiment was not approved, but Ducat would ultimately get his answer. Way too long.
I guess it's a little too late for an I told you so.
I mean, he could still say it, just...
But he did bloody well tell them so.
With 3 lighthouse keepers vanished into thin air, it's time to jump into theories about what happened that cold December on Eilean Mor. Our first theory is that the men were accidentally swept into the sea. Perhaps a wave caught the missing tackle box, scattering the contents about the rocks. If 2 of the men went to try to retrieve the supplies and a wave swept one away, the other could have ran back to the house to get the third. It's possible that third man was MacArthur, who could have run out to help without grabbing his coat. Perhaps while trying to rescue their coworker, the others were hit by a renegade wave and likewise swept out to sea. As we've already discussed, enormous waves have been known to hit the island. So, even if the keepers thought they were far enough from the shore, they may have been caught off guard. There's also the possibility the men could have literally been blown from the island. The nearby Butt of Lewis had been at one point considered by Guinness to be the windiest place in the UK.
What's funny about that is the Butt of Shane is the windiest place in the US.
Do you have that one locked and loaded?
Oh yeah, I did, baby.
No bodies ever washed ashore, leaving room to question this theory. How could 3 experienced lighthouse keepers be caught so off guard, especially if one had already been swept to a rough sea? Why would the other 2 risk themselves?
Help me! You know, and they're like, well, let's help him. You know?
All right, fuck, he's back in the
Throw
ocean.
a rope down there or something, and then, whoa, you know, oh, we're all in the sea now.
I would think that they have some sort of protocol when one falls in and it doesn't immediately become and they
What
go
if
out
they're
there and
drunk?
start slipping around.
What if they're drunk?
I guess what if they were drunk? Yes.
If they're hallucinating, even worse?
Look, it's possible. I just don't think it's very plausible.
Perhaps because of the romanticism of an isolated Scottish island, some theorize one or more of the keepers could have had a psychological breakdown, leading to their demise. As the logs described, morale was low amongst the keepers, and there was the possibility they were hallucinating storms. Perhaps a fight broke out with one keeper killing the others, tossing their bodies into the surf, then leaping into the ocean himself. MacArthur in particular was known for his rough nature and violent tendencies. There's also speculation that a romantic relationship could have sprouted between the men, then soured, or that one went mad, running off the cliff while the other slipped chasing after him. Because there were no indications of violence found on the island, however, this theory is based mostly in speculation.
Lighthouse? More like fight house.
Needs work. It's perfectly plausible that one of them may have lost it out there on this island, but there wasn't any indications of violence, and I would assume, being, 3 grown men, you would see some signs of a tussle.
Yeah, that place would be marked up,
Yeah,
There's
probably.
some scuffs.
Like, no one's gonna go out there like, all right, take me into the ocean, I guess. Here you go, I'll wrap myself up so I can't escape.
There was no way for them to get off of there on their own. They
Like
couldn't have just bailed.
Like if all 3 of them walked into the ocean?
Well, because you said 2 of them could have been in love, and I'm thinking, well, what if all 3, they were like, this works. What we got
triangle?
going here, this works, the
Yeah.
3 of us. We're in love. We're 3 men who love each other.
A tripod.
A tripod. Let's get out of
And
here.
then one day, one of them says, I think this should be a bipod instead.
Oh, no, I'm saying the 3 of them lived happily ever after and just, moved to Jamaica or something.
Oh, I see.
Our third theory is, of course, that the men were abducted by aliens.
Here we go.
That's it.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
No, it's not. There's more.
that's it.
What? Say the rest.
Theory 4, our final theory is that...
What? No, that's it.
A little throwback there for you.
You're just having fun with it.
I mean, look.
This isn't a serious theory.
110 feet up in the air, got knocked off by something that wasn't man, and there was no signs of a major wave hitting the lighthouse. No signs of a scuffle. They all left. The logs were pristine. Who's to say they didn't see some kind of big-ass light outside, and they were like, hey, what's that?
Because they'd be like, hey, nice light.
They're lighthouse keepers. They
Yeah.
love light.
Oh, have you seen our light? What light you got there?
Oh, nice big light.
Yeah, that's
I
a
love
hell
our
of a
light.
light.
Our light's the best.
This light kicks ass.
Whoa, there's another light.
Why
That light's
am I
much bigger
300
than my
feet
light.
off the ground?
Holy
This is a
shit.
hell of a light.
Let's get closer to the... It's possible.
Our final theory is that some other supernatural occurrence happened to the 3 Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers. There are legends of water sprites in Scotland, particularly the Blue Men of the Binge, or storm kelpies in the Outer Hebrides, where the Flannan Isles are located.
I suspect everyone watching this is eagerly waiting for me to really dunk on this, but I gotta say I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Tell me more about these men.
These strong green-haired creatures are thought to live in caves and sink ships in order to drown sailors. According to legend, if the lighthouse keepers encountered a clan of these sprites, their only hope for survival would be to have the last word in a rhyming duel.
Do you not love the idea that the only way, and I repeat, the only way you could survive a sprite is if you beat them in a rap battle?
That's a lot.
It says the last word in a rhyming duel.
A rhyming duel. Okay, so here we go, Ryan. Well, I'm a sprite. And
That's your impression of a sprite? Just you saying, I'm a sprite?
well, I'm a sprite and I've come to your island, and if you want to live, you're gonna have to beat me.
You didn't even rhyme the first 2 sentences. You said, I'm
No.
gonna do it in a rhymey way.
Oh, I thought you had to rhyme with what I say.
You didn't say like, I'm a sprite, let's
And I'm
test
here
your
to
might.
Okay.
And I'm here on this dark, dark night. Oh, are you in for a fright?
No, I'm
You
not.
better keep it tight.
I'm real tough. And I'll
sure
tell
like your
you,
light.
I've had enough. I sure do like my big, tall light, and I don't like you, sir. Try as I might.
Looks like you gent are heading for the falls. If not, you could suck my blue balls.
All right, I know what I'm beat. Woo!
There's also a local legend surrounding Moore's arrival on the island. Allegedly, when he entered the lighthouse building, 3 giant black birds perched atop the lighthouse flew off into the sky. People claim those birds were the 3 keepers, who were transformed into the avian form as a punishment for violating the supernatural power of the island.
My brain is just, I'm picturing the Animorphs cover of a lighthouse keeper turning into like a crow.
Could you imagine just like them perched atop the lighthouse and they see all these people trying to look for them and they're trying and they're cawing and cawing. It's us! It's us, please! I'm the bird! It's me! It's me, Mac!
They've got little slickers on.
There's the coat! It's on the bird! It got shrunk with them.
A little corncob pipe.
Tragic. It's tragic.
It's fun to imagine, and a load of horse shit.
That's what happens when you've entered the Twilight Zone.
No, this is unsolved.
Shit, you're right.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
Keepers tended the lighthouse on Eilean Moor until 1971, when it was fully automated. For those 70 years, the sudden and eerie disappearance of 3 men charged with manning the island must have hung heavily over the heads of lighthouse keepers in the Flannan Isles, and keepers reported hearing the men's names whispered by someone in the wind. As for what extinguished the lights of James Ducat, Donald MacArthur, and Thomas Marshall 120 years ago, that mystery remains unsolved.
Well, I gotta say, I love it.
What is that dipshit look on your face?
You gotta really, you really gotta
Yeah, you did like the wave. You did like a body roll.
I loved this story.
I like it. Yeah, that's
good,
good.
right?
You've improved over the course of the episode. A real 3-act structure. It's good.
Fun.
Fun. And a good cameo for aliens in this one.
And I gotta say, as I've been stuck in my apartment for the majority of this year, nice to go on a little trip with our minds.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And that's a good lesson to you anywhere. You may be locked up inside, but you're never going to be locked up inside up here.
Yeah, oh, you don't want to be locked up inside of there. Let me tell you, that is a nightmare
No,
palace.
it's not good. When are you going to realize, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me?
Jesus Christ. I know you're just quoting a movie, but you got way too intense on that.
What
was
happened?
very scary. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Hello and welcome to another edition of BuzzFeed Unsolved Postmortem, a show where we answer your most pressing questions about the most recent episode of BuzzFeed Unsolved, which was the vanishing of the Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers. All the questions we're answering today came from you guys via our BuzzFeed Unsolved Facebook page, our BuzzFeed Unsolved Instagram page, as well as directly on the video on Bun. Still in lockdown.
Yes.
We're here a whole season later and we're still doing this.
We're still doing it. You're right there to my left, just trying to remember where we all are. Well, what do we do? We answer questions.
Yeah, we do answer questions. This comes from The Void Was Here. Is there a chance that the guy that didn't report the lighthouse not shining for 2 weeks could have murdered them? It's suspicious that he didn't report what he was supposed to. Maybe he killed them, took them to sea, and the large waves and storm cleaned up the mess.
Yeah.
Fun theory. However, I do think that guy was just a lazy old man filled with regret.
Filled with regret.
Filled. He's just a lazy old man filled with regret. I do think the person that was supposed to report any discrepancies at the lighthouse, I think that person was just not doing their job. Sometimes people don't do their job. It doesn't mean that while they were not doing their job, they were murdering somebody. Most of the time, I would assume. Otherwise, there'd be a lot more murders. This is just a classic case of negligence or laziness, perhaps.
If your job is to watch a lighthouse, you're phoning it in, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't his main job.
I'm not looking at that lighthouse. I'll check
he's
on
only
it
getting
every
paid.
week or two, you know?
But then again, if that's the case and you didn't see what you were supposed to see over and over and over again, you probably would get a little excited and be like, oh wow, there's trouble afoot. To my post.
Post!
If you were that kind of person, but I guess not. I don't think he murdered them. Also, there was no sign of a struggle. And also, what did he gain from that? Is he gonna loot the bodies of 3 lighthouse keepers? What do they have, like a pencil on them among the 3 of them?
Maybe he's a sicko who does it for jollies.
Moving on to the next one here.
This is from Grahamtown. This is from Tay7 Doctor. I don't know. How challenging was it to do this during quarantine?
I mean, it was certainly not ideal to do it during quarantine, as anything in life is now. It wasn't that bad. Luckily, we have a great crew here at Unsolved. We had the Tej Man, the Tej Monster.
Tej Monster.
Behind the camera. Devin put together all of the production. And we had Katie back there as well, directing. Shout out to Lexi as well for dressing the set to bring Crimey the crime mannequin and put a little mask on him in the background.
It's a giddy experience because, like, the way we're shooting now sucks.
Not great.
To put it lightly. We've been doing a lot of Zoom shoots since March, and it's very difficult. I step on him a lot. I'm like,
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
No,
You go.
You know, that doesn't work very well. Yeah.
Wait, I can't hear you.
Ryan?
Maybe I have to call him back.
Ryan, go ahead.
Hello? We're just kidding. That was a nice little, that's exactly what
we've
it's like,
gotten
though.
used to it. We're good at bits now over Zoom. But there's nothing that quite compares to being able to shoot in the same physical space with the proper amount of distance. And we're shooting it in this big old backyard of this spooky house where there's a lot of stray cats running around.
A little hard to hear each other, I will say, even distanced apart on set.
I've seen a lot of people, not a lot of people, a small number of people who are like, why aren't they doing Supernatural? Because we would die.
Yeah, that's true. We would die.
The crime heads out there are thrilled because they get more
That's
of
true.
our salacious murders and such.
You know, haunted locations aren't really up to protocol or code when it comes to COVID safety measures.
I mean, even in the non-pandemic times, they pose a threat to your respiratory system.
Yeah, they weren't up to human safety measures. This comes from Franco's baby girl.
Franco's baby girl?
Hashtag postmortem. The logs said it was cold. Could they have all developed hypothermia? It would explain one of them not having their coat. After developing hypothermia, They could have maybe fell into the sea. Just a theory. By the way, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Franco's baby girl, as well as Franco, whoever you are.
Wow, Franco too.
Franco, they're a package deal. Yes, they could have developed hypothermia, but you would think that with that, there would be other behavior, like perhaps evidence that they were trying to draw more fire. The fireplace had been undisturbed when they walked in. You would also see maybe clothes lying around, because a lot of times when you get hypothermia, you develop this thing called paradoxical undressing, which is your body weirdly thinks it's really hot when it gets to a hypothermic level, so you start taking off all your clothes. A lot of people on Everest are found naked, for example. We didn't see that here. It's a fun theory, but I don't think that this is what happened.
Can you imagine dying on Everest bare-assed?
No, I can't.
That'd be freaky, man.
Kind of embarrassing, if you know what I mean.
Sweater mama.
Sweater mama?
That's right. I guess this is sort of a mama who wears sweaters. Says, thank you for introducing me to Kook Slams. This is the greatest stuff ever. Kook Slams is an Instagram page that Ryan Bergara introduced me to, it had to be a couple years ago now?
Yeah, it was a while ago, and we actually explained what it was in the episode, and they cut that explanation out, so it's just this kind of stray reference that's left.
Yeah, like I don't know how popular. I know it has like a lot of Instagram followers, but I don't think it's part of like the public vernacular.
I think they got more than me and you combined, Shane. We gotta step our game up.
But yeah, we gotta start doing some Kook Slams.
Kook Slams, which by the way, we still haven't explained it, is a place where people crash, fall, or have some sort of blunder in an aquatic fashion.
It's always real fun.
It's your boogie board beef jobs.
Yeah.
Just straight into the sand. So head on over to Kook Slams after this. Check out some people eating dirt.
Let them know the boys sent you.
Let's just stay in Grahamtown.
Sure.
Emma_Rose_Gray. What do you make of the fact that all the clocks were stopped? None of the theories really explain that. So I'm curious what your thoughts are. Hashtag please bring back the hot dog. It's my only reason for living. Whew, rough existence. I was gonna say, at first I thought, okay, if they were all stopped at the same time, that would make sense. But that would be assuming that it's like a power outage where it's, a digital clock. That would make sense if they were all stopped. But if they're all wind up, that's just a matter of how many times each clock was wound, right? So conceivably, they could run out at different times based on their wind time.
I think my grandparents growing up had a winding clock, like a small grandfather clock or like one of the smaller ones on the wall. I don't know how often you have to tend to those.
I've always wanted a pocket watch that I could kind of like wind while I'm in a moment of paused thinking.
Deep meditation.
When someone asks me a question and I don't know the answer and I just take it out of my pocket, That's an interesting quandary you just presented to me. I think it's one of those unexplainable weird things. It is truly strange. Maybe the blast of them being abducted emitted some sort of energy that then stopped all the mechanics of anything nearby, including analog devices.
That'd be freaky, man. Like an EMP.
Or what if the aliens
Yeah.
we're like, all right, we got these guys up on our ship. Why don't we just have some fun now? Let's go in there and let's just stop all the clocks. And you're just like
But do they? Yeah, I guess that.
They're gonna be so confused.
But they wouldn't speak English like that. They'd be like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hannah Ford from Instagram. Did you guys film this after filming Too Many Spirits because you guys seemed a little tipsy? To be fair, lockdown must have been rough on the Ghoul Boys. Hashtag postmortem. No, we didn't. Too Many Spirits is a show over on Watcher where we dissect ghost stories while enjoying cocktails responsibly. Like we said at the beginning of this, it's very easy to feel goofy in a live setting because it's just so relieving to finally be able to chuckle with your pals in person.
It is a fun idea, but no, we were not inebriated while we shot this.
No.
We were just high on life. And
high
the
on
fact
life.
that we were seeing other humans.
Yeah.
Let's go to Morgan_Daily. Hashtag postmortem. I'm a little suspicious of this Joseph Moore guy. If he went onto the island looking for the missing men and no one else was with him, who's to say he didn't have something to do with their disappearance? Well, he was only on the island by himself for like, I want to say an hour tops before he sent for help again, I believe.
I don't know. There was no evidence of a murder or anything. It would be tough for him, I think, to take care of 3 men. What is he gonna push them all into the sea one at a time?
Yeah, for him to not only incapacitate 3 grown men, but then dispose of them in a timely and neat fashion, and then to call for help to have them sort through the crime scene he just did.
Yeah.
He must be quite good at murdering.
And the fact, I
that's
guess also it's sort of negated by the fact that the lighthouse was unresponsive before he even got there, right?
Yes.
It was already seemingly deserted before he showed up.
One last one from Instagram. This comes from the Yeehaw Dealer. For the postmortem, best soft drink?
Oh, I love it.
It's root beer.
I appreciate root beer,
Watch it.
but I treat, like, root beer is almost too decadent for me to enjoy as a soft drink on a regular basis.
A Barks root beer is pretty good. I also don't think mug root beer is that bad.
I think those are pretty subpar root beers.
A&W, also good.
A&W I do like.
What are you, a Coke guy? You
Well, okay, let me say,
Pepsi dude,
can I say,
or a Sprite guy?
Can I say something freaky? Well, I'll say this before I tell you what I might put at my very top. I'll say that.
Oh my God, the suspense. Just get on with it.
Okay. Would you at least agree that 7-Up is better than Sprite?
I think Sprite's better.
Okay.
It's a crisper taste.
I actually find 7-Up to be crisper. It has less sweetness to it. It's a little more fresh tasting. But I'll tell you what my number one is. It's Squirt.
Okay. I can name 3 sodas off the top of my head rapid fire right now that are better than Sprite.
Oh, I'd love to hear you try.
Oh yeah,
You
root
can't.
beer, Coke, and Dr. Pepper. Done.
Dr. Pepper?
That's right. And root beer, by the way, that can mean any of the root beers.
Hey, you know, frankly, I'm glad we're not in the same space right now because I would strangle you.
Well, if you did come near me, I would rip your tongue out. Because I'm your friend, I'd bring it to the tongue doctor and I'd say, can you get this guy another tongue?
You don't know any tongue doctors.
I know so many tongue doctors.
You
I know
do
so
not.
many-
How
I know
many?
so
How many
tongue
do you know?
doctors.
Name,
I know
name,
lingua doctors.
Say,
That's Spanish for
say
tongue.
3 of their names.
Dr. Tongue.
His
Dr.
name's not
Tonguey,
Dr. Tongue.
And Dr. Gung.
I'm pretty sure you're lying.
Well, I have their business cards. I don't know what to tell you.
All my squirt
Don't call them
heads.
squirt heads.
Yeah,
That sounds like you're
sorry.
into something else.
Okay, sorry. all my squirters out there, all my squirt heads out there, chime off in the comments. Let us know if you appreciate
Christ.
Squirt. A great soda. I got a question.
What's your question?
What is coming up this week on season 7, episode 2 of BuzzFeed Unsolved True Crime?
We're gonna cover a gang of folks who are up to no good. Perhaps they're engaging in a little bit in the 5-finger discount. You know, stealing with your hands.
I'll say this story really tickled me. You get that?
No,
Because it tickled me pink.
I don't know, man. It's a bit of a reach. That does it for this episode of BuzzFeed Unsolved Postmortem. Make sure you watch the episode that comes out this Friday, and then send in your questions to the BuzzFeed Unsolved Facebook page, the BuzzFeed Unsolved Instagram page, or comment directly on the video on Bun, and maybe
we'll
next
see
time
you
you'll
at
be
the
on
movies.
the next episode of BuzzFeed
BuzzFeed
Unsolved
Unsolved
Postmortem. I forgot how much that gets on my nerves. I'm going to not refer you to Dr. Tongue.
No,
I'm
come
outta
on,
here.
dude. I gotta get this checked
No, you're
out.
gonna drink squirt for the rest of your life.
That sounds pretty dope, actually.
Well, well, well. The ever formidable St. Augustine Lighthouse.
She's a beaut, Ryan.
She's also probably one of the most prolific places when it comes to paranormal activity. Every big investigator has come in here, all of them left with something to be pleased about. And I intend to keep that streak going today.
Huh? Did you just wink at me?
No, I didn't. I think you shined your flashlight in my
Oh,
face.
sorry.
You could tell yourself whatever you want to. I'm just excited to get my little feet inside that lighthouse.
We'll strangle a ghoul with our bare hands, God willing.
You know I win if that happens, right?
I don't care. It's not a competition.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
We're friends. It's a friendship.
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we investigate St. Augustine Lighthouse as part of our ongoing investigation into the question, are ghosts real?
No.
This lighthouse has played home to many an investigation in the past and has returned some of my favorite evidence ever captured on tape.
What does that mean? What do you got?
Full-bodied apparition.
Don't like the way you say that.
Full-bodied apparition.
A full-bodied apparition.
I did not do
He
the
always
hand
does,
motion.
He doesn't do that on
I didn't do it.
camera.
No, that's not true.
But when we're off set, he goes, we got a full-bodied apparition. Bitch.
Anyways, full-bodied
So,
apparition,
full-bodied apparition.
captured in this lighthouse. It's a bit of a staple in the ghost community.
I love a lighthouse. I've always wanted to do a lighthouse. This is some classic Hardy Boys.
Okay, keep it in your pants. You could get excited about that if you want. I'm
I
excited
am.
about the prospect of catching maybe the best evidence we've ever caught.
I don't care about that
If
because you're gonna be like, this ghost sounds like the ocean waves.
This place is just, there's a lot of activity in this place. That's
Okay,
all. That's
great.
all this is
I'm
about.
here for it.
Let's get into it.
Predating Plymouth Rock, Jamestown, and even Roanoke in 1585, there was St. Augustine. Established by the Spanish explorer Pedro Menendez de Aviles in 1565, St. Augustine is the oldest continually inhabited settlement in the United States. Located approximately 40 miles southeast of Jacksonville, Florida, the Spanish held the settlement against the British pirate Sir Francis Drake in 1586, a brutal British attack during Queen Anne's War in 1702, and another fiery British siege in 1740. When St. Augustine was finally handed over to Britain in 1763, the HMS Industry, one of the first boats sent to the new territory, sank in the waters just below the looming lighthouse.
If something's been around for hundreds of years, isn't it possible? It's like I say, there's not a lot of haunted Chipotles. But if Chipotle had been around as a chain since the 1500s, if they landed in America and started putting up Chipotles, they'd all be haunted. This is a very apt analogy.
I don't know if time does not always equal tragedy. I refute that.
It does.
And I'm saying that this place specifically has a lot of tragedy.
It clearly does.
And also, if you could find me a Chipotle that had more than 3 people die in it, at any point in any incarnation of that building, I'll give you $100.
Can you chime off in the comments and let us know? I bet
That doesn't apply to you.
The St. Augustine Lighthouse has existed in some form or another since 1586, before finally succumbing to eroding coastlines and falling into the ocean in 1880.
I'd love to see it. I would love to see it.
Like nobody inside, right?
Yeah, ideally they get everyone out, but if they can't do that and I can still get a front row ticket. Do you ever see videos of demolitions where
I have seen those.
where they fall the wrong way?
Were you,
It's so funny, because everyone's like, yay, this building's, huh? Oh, no, not that! Ah!
The original St. Augustine Lighthouse would be known as, quote, the earliest permanent aid to navigation in the continental United States of America, end quote. The new lighthouse was completed on October 15, 1874, approximately 500 yards southwest of the original lighthouse. The light from the new lighthouse could be seen up to 24 nautical miles away and would have been a bright yellow color. That same lens is still in operation at the lighthouse today. With over 400 years of history, the site of the St. Augustine Lighthouse is sure to have its fair share of ghosts. Let's get into it. One area that's been a notorious source of suspicious activity is the keeper's house basement. One keeper or assistant supposedly hanged himself in the basement of the keeper's house just years after the completion of the new lighthouse. And perhaps related, volunteers and workers with the museum have claimed to see a man in a blue suit lurking in the shadows. Staff at the lighthouse seem to believe this man is Peter Rasmussen, who served as the lighthouse keeper from 1901 to 1924, the longest stint of any keeper at the lighthouse. Rasmussen was a smoker, hated tourists, and in general, was a cranky guy.
Now, a lighthouse keeper named Peter is often caught down here. There's a very tall man in a blue suit who walks around down here. Also, people seem to be pretty uneasy about that corner.
Over here?
Yeah. Does that feel creepy?
It's actually kind of comforting.
You're a psychopath.
No, just come over here and do this.
I'm not a fan of it.
No?
No. All right, Peter. We're told that you particularly have ire directed towards tourists. And I'll tell you, if there were anybody that was more representative of tourism, it's the boys.
Look at this guy's shirt.
Yeah, look at me. Well, Peter, if you're upstairs, I'd love to hear you coming down those metal spiral stairs. Whoa!
What?
Did you whistle?
No, I didn't whistle. Whoa, I heard a
Shut
whistle.
up!
Peter, is that you? Peter. Peter. We just want to talk to you, Peter. Come on, Peter. Hoist the jib!
Is that a thing?
We're just gonna shout out boat terms.
Hoist the jib!
Starboard!
Port!
I'm gonna go use the head.
On blue skies at night, sailors getting fights. Blue skies in the morning. Oh, what a beautiful morning.
You're keeping secrets from us, Peter.
Come on, Peter. Come on, Peter. We'd love it if you talk to us, Peter.
We're gonna move to the other basement now, Peter.
Another trio of ghosts who haunt this lighthouse treat the entire grounds as their own playground. The construction of the new lighthouse took place from 1871 to 1874 and was overseen by a man named Hezekiah H. Pitty. On July 10, 1873, it's reported that Pitty's children, along with one unnamed girl believed to be a worker's daughter, decided to play in the supply cart that ran from the construction site high on the coastline down to the water below when tragedy struck. The supply cart hit a gate and flipped the children into the water, pinning them under the cart. A worker came to their aid, but it was too late. Two of Pitty's children, Eliza and Mary, as well as the unnamed little girl, drowned before they could be saved.
Can't be horsing around.
You know, I respect that. I respect that.
You know, you can horse around in certain areas, but a construction site by the ocean?
Some believe the three little girls can be heard playing games like hide and seek throughout the grounds. One woman supposedly saw a young girl in a red dress in the upstairs window of the keeper's house while she stood on the lawn. The girl flipped her long hair over her shoulder and then vanished. A child's footprints made of dirt were once found in the keeper's house despite the fact that no children had been present on the tour that evening. People also claim that the locks in the upstairs rooms will lock and unlock themselves, as if a child is playing with them. And in 1965, a guest in the rented keeper's house reportedly saw a young girl in the doorway to the upstairs room he was sleeping in. She was wearing a long lace dress and stared at the man with a blank expression for several minutes before fading away.
Okay, so this is the keeper's house.
Quite nice.
A whole cast of characters are said to be inside here. Parts of the building are still original, the brickwork in particular. There's a second, first, and a basement.
It's a great home.
After you, sir. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I think that's just ghosts.
Very good. Hello.
Hi.
Even if there's no ghouls in here, there is AC, so we have that going for us.
Yeah.
Now, Eliza and Mary, we are going to turn on a device now that I rather enjoy,
This thing stinks,
and
ladies.
Shane loves it.
Oh, you're gonna hate it.
If you would like to communicate with us, can you please say our names back to us?
That's Ryan and Shane. We got a what? Sounded like one voice over 5 little bands. Warhol tonight? Andy's in the house? Ryan and Shane, those are our names.
It's a little quieter at least now.
Try to say them, or try to say your own name. Eliza.
All right, I've had enough.
Oh, I love the silence.
Another area of the keeper's house that is quite active is the parlor. It's here that people have heard coughing, which staff at the lighthouse assigned to the spirit of William Harn. Harn was one of the first keepers of the lighthouse, and unfortunately, the first keeper to die at the lighthouse, eventually succumbing to his battle with malaria and tuberculosis.
In this room, the parlor room, it's here that people hear coughs because he died of tuberculosis contracted in the Civil War.
Not a pretty way to go, coughing up blood.
No, which is, I mean, that makes sense why it would echo throughout time.
Consumption.
Right now, I'm reaching out to William Harn. We're inside your home right now. We're in one of your favorite rooms.
The parlor. Remember all the happy times you had in here listening to your clock? It sure does tick. Yeah, we rarely get spooky clocks like this, but this ain't half bad.
All right, we're gonna give you some silence here, William. If there's anything you'd like to say to us, maybe a message you wish you could have communicated before you left Earth. I'm gonna sit in one of these little tiny chairs that make me look like you. Gonna give you some silence right now. So there you have it. I believe we just caught a disembodied cough in which the cough belongs to one William Harn.
Oh! Sounds like someone getting kicked in the nuts.
Yes, someone get it. It's pretty definitive, I feel like.
Yeah, it could be a ghost coffin.
I mean, that's the sound that I imagine people hear in that room.
I'll say this though, you know, Florida is a very loud place. A lot of noises out there. A lot of noises. But the other thing you have to consider is that it is possible that someone could make some sort of noise or movement that, if it's a quiet noise, is amplified by a microphone and sounds from a distance like a louder noise. You see what I'm saying here?
Maybe. I also don't.
Are you doing that thing?
I think
Are you doing that thing where when I talk, you go,
maybe. I just think a cough is a far cry from, ooh, look at my squeaky little shoe moving. I think I'm being quiet in the distance, but maybe I'm not. I'm surprised you didn't ask
hats
about...
off to you.
Thank you. Did you bring the hat just for that?
Just for that.
Just for that? Well, it came in handy.
But the most daring of the St. Augustine Lighthouse's spirits is the one who can be seen pacing the observation deck, 219 stairs up and 165 feet high into the night's sky. In December of 1859, 60-year-old Joseph Andrew, the keeper of the original lighthouse, fell to his death while whitewashing the outside of the lighthouse tower. Quote, "The lashing of the scaffold suddenly gave way, and he was precipitated to the ground, killing him almost instantaneously." End quote. Joseph's obituary in the St. Augustine Examiner described his death in graphic detail. Quote, "He first struck the roof of the oil room about 30 feet below, whence he glanced off and struck the stone wall which encloses the lighthouse, and thence to the ground, a stone pavement." End quote.
They've really sort of changed the way they do obituaries in the
Yeah, they really have.
because that is, you really wouldn't read something like that nowadays, huh?
Describing a man pinballing down a lighthouse in Old English using words like thence is kind of funny. But, I mean, it's obviously a tragedy.
Yeah, nowadays they'd be like, oh, he died doing what he loved. Not, oh, you should have seen him bounce.
Andre's wife, Maria Mestre de Dolores Andreu, took over as keeper on January 7th, 1860, becoming the first official female lighthouse keeper for the U.S. in Florida, and the first Hispanic American woman to control a federal shore installation.
That's pretty badass.
Not a bummer.
No, not a bummer.
Nice to hear something positive about a lighthouse.
Even though the lighthouse was not incorporated into the U.S. Coast Guard until the 20th century, they honor Maria as the first female employee and one of the first Hispanic employees. According to a spokesperson for the lighthouse, Maria has been seen at the top of the lighthouse in a white dress with her long hair down. In fact, according to Paul Wenglowski, a former director of maritime education at the lighthouse, there is a padlocked door at the top of the lighthouse that triggers an alarm when opened. On multiple occasions, this door was found the morning after closing inexplicably opened without triggering said alarm. Investigations into the anomaly by the alarm company found no explanation for how this repeatedly occurred. Could this be the work of the ill-fated Joseph and his wife Maria, still keeping watch over this haunted tower?
I don't care about doors.
It's an alarm door.
I know.
It's closed.
That's cool. Anytime there's like any chance of sort of any kind of mechanical failure or just doors in general, people are always like, well, the door opened, so that's ghosts.
Well, when you combine the door opening with people seeing apparitions up there.
Yeah, I know. It's high up there, too.
I mean, it could be people still
pretty
standing
far away.
guard. If it's a residual haunting, it would be someone that would be doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, look.
Hence opening the door.
I don't want to argue with you on this. If you find it compelling, I'm happy for you.
I do find it compelling. And
great.
I'm happy for me, too.
Good.
One ghost you won't find haunting the St. Augustine Lighthouse is that of Cracker Daniels' sister's cat.
Good. Great. I don't need to hear any more. I love it. This is the best character we've ever had on this show.
In the early 1900s, Cracker Daniels, a keeper's son, dropped his sister's cat off the top of the gallery deck of the lighthouse to test out a parachute he had fashioned. Amazingly, the parachute worked, and the cat was not harmed.
I'll tell you, I bet that cat made it to the ground and then had a heart attack and died. I put our cat in the car, and he's like, he doesn't like it.
Maybe it speaks to how you're taking care of your cat.
I don't think cats like to be in cars, so I can't imagine they enjoy being in a parachute.
All right.
Big show.
Well, we finally arrived at the big gun.
You know, it didn't occur to me until now that this is going to be quite physically taxing.
This might be the most physically demanding thing we've ever done in this show.
Which isn't saying much.
I mean, we're not physical dudes.
No.
But this is gonna suck. The best ghost evidence of all time, in my opinion, or at least some of it, has been caught right here in this little rotunda. Kind of crazy, actually, to be standing in the annals of ghost history.
Hell of a rotunda.
I mean, they caught an apparition full out, just peeking over the railing.
I mean, to be fair, this does seem like the kind of place where stuff would play tricks on you.
Wow, that is tall.
It's quite tall. So tall it makes you feel small.
Makes me feel like a small guy.
So it's said that the girls haunt this lighthouse. It's also said that Joseph and Maria, the keepers of the lighthouse, the former lighthouse that is, all those people haunt this lighthouse. So we got a whole cast of characters we could reach out to.
A lot of room for ghosts.
Too much room, in fact, actually. I was talking to a tour guide, and the tour guide said they saw something or someone on the third landing. That's also where a lot of activity happens, so we'll go all the way up to there.
Yeah, let's hop up to there. Oh, this is not so bad.
This lighthouse never thought it would meet the boots of the Ghoul Boys.
That's right.
I'm reaching out to Maria and Joseph right now. Do any of you want to talk to us? I'd love to see you. I know whoever's in here likes to mess with people, play little tricks, run up and down the stairs.
You can push us down the stairs if you want,
You could try.
if that gives you a chuckle.
Got an automatic light up here.
Oh, now this is quite homey up here.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Joseph and Maria. We're reaching out to you right now. My name is Ryan,
I'm Shane,
and we're at the top of your lighthouse.
because we busted in here. A couple of degenerates. You know what the coolest thing in the world would be?
What?
If we heard steps at the bottom.
That would be wild.
Get louder and louder.
You hear me down there?
Give us a little scary movie moment. Start walking up the stairs one at a time. That'd be real scary. Dazzle us!
You know what it is? I think they're intimidated by us.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that's what it
Your shirt especially.
is. I mean, it's pretty scary.
Wow, you can see the whole world from up here.
It's almost like it's an observation deck.
I know this lighthouse is haunted, but I would happily live here.
I would happily haunt this place, exactly.
I don't even want to haunt it, I just want to live here.
What do you think, Maria? You like those stars?
Hey, answer our questions, lady.
I really thought that was
It's
gonna
not
work.
working.
I thought it was gonna work. You see that light on the dock over there?
Yeah.
That's actually where Joseph fell from the original lighthouse before it moved
wow.
over here, more inland.
Wow, this is crazy.
Look at the stars. I know we're on a ghost hunt right now, but a shooting star just went behind
What
your
are you
head.
talking about? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, I just saw another. No, that's a bug.
Now that we've briefly introduced ourselves to this infamously haunted lighthouse, it's time to finish off the investigation with individual lockdowns to see if we can coax whatever's hiding in the shadows to come out to play.
Well, the time has come. Before you go up there, do you want to explain to all the people at home why you look like bargain bin Tony Stark?
These are my new ghoul hunting glasses. They're supposed to help you drive at night, and I thought I'd get my own gear this season. So this will help me see ghosts better.
Well, whether or not they work, you certainly look like an idiot, so.
Thank you.
You have that to hang your hat on.
Basically what I strive for on this show.
You accomplished it. You did a good job.
All right, so I'm going in there. I'm going to the top.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back down.
Yeah, that's what you do in a staircase, yeah.
Sounds good. This is high time for a ghoul to come out and spook me. So far, no ghouls.
I think when Shane is around, it's easy to forget that you're in one of the most horrifying places on Earth. And now that he's not gonna be in there, not to say that he's like my daddy or something like that, I don't know why I said it. Have fun with that one, internet.
All right, I am at the top of the lighthouse. They do say that ghosts can affect temperatures, makes things colder. Wouldn't mind that. And this is allegedly the site of a lot of FBAs, or full-bodied apparitions. I feel nothing, I really don't. I don't get any vibes. I haven't felt anything strange all night.
Really, I just want to see his eyes for a brief, just the smallest moment. I want to see fear in his eyes. I'd love to cut away to it right now.
Oh, that's a loud one. Okay. All right, see you later, dudes.
Everyone who's gone in there has seen something, for the most part, if they've gone by themselves. You know what? I'm eager to add my name to that roster.
Bye.
Oh, boy. Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. I gotta work myself. I gotta work.
What? No,
I gotta work myself. I gotta work myself up to it.
You know, you're not working yourself up to it. Get in there. Get in.
Get it! All right. Come on. Okay, all right. Jesus Christ.
Walk up the lighthouse. I know this is the beginning of the season, so I don't know if that whole show there was just for, I don't know what that was all about. I don't know why he suddenly had to psych himself up to go in here. Arguably, I think this is one of the least scary places we've ever been, so I don't understand his apprehension.
I'm standing at the bottom right now and working my way to the top. I hate that I'm about to say this. And if you don't want me to go to the top of your lighthouse, you better stop me. It's gonna be okay. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Ah! It's an automatic light.
I don't think it's haunted. I don't think anything here is haunted. It's really nice architecture. It's a big, tall, round house. It's a beautiful light at the top.
I'm gonna use something right now that's gonna help you speak to me. I'm talking to you, Maria. I'm talking to you, Joseph. Is there anybody in here with me right now? My name is Brian. What? Can you say my name back to me? Oh my God, I just heard Eliza. Oh my God. Eliza? Why do you sound like that? What? Swap me? You swap? Oh my God, I'm panicking. I do hear you. Oh my God, I just heard hear me. I got the chills. How did you die? Camping? What? Say it again. How did you die? Fell off the chimney. Oh my God. Off the chimney. Did you hit a roof when you fell?
He's been in there a while, huh?
Why am I leaving? Is that what you just say? Because I'm scared, that's why. Sayonara, you had your chance.
Turn off your radio.
I almost had a panic attack.
Did you? You are wet.
I said, who's up here? What's your name? And it just so clear, just Eliza.
It said Eliza.
And then I said, how did you die? And it said, fell off a chimney? What the heck?
That's wild. Well, you got a ghost. Congrats. You all right? You were really yelling in there.
My brain is mush right now. I can't really think.
Ryan, did you or did you not encounter something over there?
I think I did. Yeah.
You encountered something.
I think a couple things.
To so many, the St. Augustine Lighthouse was a noble beacon that guided all those lost at sea safely home. Whether or not those souls and the souls of the brave keepers who worked tirelessly to keep the beam constant now haunt the very lighthouse they so revered will remain unsolved. Hello and welcome to another edition of BuzzFeed Unsolved Postmortem, a show where we answer your most pressing questions about the most recent episode of BuzzFeed Unsolved, which was St. Augustine Lighthouse. All the questions we're answering today came from you guys via our BuzzFeed Unsolved Facebook page, our BuzzFeed Unsolved Instagram page, as well as directly on the video on Bun.
Feels good to say that. On Bun.
Are you wearing a turtleneck?
Yeah. What a fun episode it was. We were at a lighthouse in St. Augustine, a beautiful city in Florida. A lot of dragonflies.
Is that the first turtleneck you've ever bought? I've never seen you wear a turtleneck. I don't know how I
I
didn't
wear
notice
turtlenecks all the time. If you look at the episodes, I'm wearing turtlenecks in most of them. Was that the first lighthouse you've ever been to?
No, I've been to other lighthouses before in my life, but that was the lighthouse in terms of the ghost community.
Yes.
I've seen this lighthouse on so many damn shows, I was very excited to go there. And you know what? I'm pretty happy with what we got.
It was a blast. It was 1 billion degrees.
It was maybe the hottest
I have ever been on an investigation until later
Later in the
episodes
season.
in the season. Every episode escalated in terms of how hot I was.
But a lovely city, lovely lighthouse, and we've got some questions about it, and we're going to answer them today on BuzzFeed Unsolved Postmortem.
That's what we do here.
Yeah.
If you're new to the game,
Yeah.
we answer your Q's with some hot, spicy A's.
That's right. Yeah. Grab Nation! Here's from Basic Grebo. I'm normally a Shaniac, but I'm gonna have to go with Ryan on this one. Shane, could you try to explain the very clear voices that Ryan picked up while he was in there alone? I feel like there really is no way it could be wind. It was really clear, right? I don't think it was that clear.
There it is.
I mean, certainly a lot of it is guided by the fact that it goes like, and you go, Eliza? And then everyone in the comments, all the Bugaros go, yeah, it said Eliza.
But you just
Do
said
you want me to leave?
I'm normally a Shaniac, though. That's the question starts with that.
And I'll say this, you're out. You're cut from the team. You're not normally a Shaniac anymore, because you're gone.
You know what? I'll tell you one thing.
You're outta here.
Basic Grebo.
Pack your things.
If there's one
Give me
rule
your
in
badge
life-
and your gun.
If there's one
All
rule in
Shaniacs
life,
carry
Basic
guns.
Grebo, never take sass from a person wearing a turtleneck under a denim jacket. And especially when he's doing that. You look like evil Steve Jobs when you do that.
Every Shaniac out there understands that the spirit box is pseudoscience. So, I mean, for this person to say, I'm normally a Shaniac, you might want to do some reading about something.
Well, I mean, even if you think it's pseudoscience, the answers that I felt were pretty clear were compelling. It's a compelling narrative to the idea of, in believers' heads, that ghosts are real. However,
Yeah.
I'm on a mission this season to convince your dumbass that ghosts are real. And for that to happen, we need a full-bodied apparition.
You're gonna need something better than what we got.
Oh, and I say you should stay tuned. This comes from Facebook. Delia.
Is that her name? Two names?
I've never met somebody who has the same first and last name. What if your name was Shane?
It'd be weird.
Shane.
Trains are full.
In realizing that editing plays a big part on what we see, I know that people will complain that you, Ryan, didn't stay long enough after you were getting great responses on your own. How long were you actually in the lighthouse alone? Love the show. Delia, Joseph, and Graham Summerfield. This person started shouting out.
Maybe Delia?
She just started shouting out people in her fam like she's a rapper.
To Ryan's credit, I did see a lot of people complaining about this. You were in there a while, and the only reason you left is because I banged on that door and said, all right, time's up.
Well, the way our individual investigations work is we have a time limit for each of us to be in there.
Yeah.
Also, what you see in the episode is a very condensed version of what happened. So there was a lot of me sitting there listening to this. That's a spirit box. That's not me doing that.
Yeah.
You hear the chimney stuff, that stuff happened, and then there's a pretty big chunk of time, and then after that, you hear why you leaving, which, to be fair, that one was kind of like, I don't know, that one isn't as clear as the other ones, in my opinion.
Sure.
To comment on what you said about you banged on the door and then I left. You know, could I have stayed in the lighthouse after my allotted time? Probably, but I didn't want to. So, okay, this is a big one. This comes from YouTube.
Got a big one? You've never been fishing.
This comes from YouTube from Vivid. Yo, pause at 2044, not even joking. There's a black silhouette of a person at the bottom of the stairs, because there's 8 exclamation
All
points.
caps, too.
All caps.
Yes, this was a popular
This
thing
was a
to
popular
tweet at
thing.
us this weekend.
Yes. And as soon as I saw the screen cap, I immediately knew what it was, which was a painting on the wall. I actually commented on this when I was in my individual investigation. As I was walking up the stairs, I got spooked by that, and I was like, why do they have full body silhouettes painted on the walls? Like, that seems like something that someone could easily mistake for a ghost, which
There you
happened.
go.
No, I'm not, because I'm fucking horrified. Oh, shit. It's just a shadow guy.
Okay, here we go to Graham Nation from Ruining History. Wait, so Shane's spookticles are really just a pair of yellow tinted hipster glasses? I think that just sums up how seriously he takes these investigations. 1, yeah, it does. And 2, no. They're night sight, I forgot what they're called. I don't know. They were like $3 on Amazon.com.
Sounds legit.
But they're for night vision.
I will say they're about as credibly scientific as any other equipment that we use on the show. So.
This comes from Dana Cax on YouTube. Why are you leaving? That's the thing the ghost said. Whoever it was, they sounded so sad. like they haven't talked to real people in years. They should go back and have a party with them, honestly. Hashtag postmortem. I'm sorry, I think I'm gonna sound like Shane here, but the idea that you could say the voice sounded sad.
Why am I leaving? Is that what you just say?
Are you okay? Do you need a glass of hot tea? Because you sound really sad. But if you're just talking about just the transcription of it, yeah, it's a pretty sad thing.
The elusive Danger Noodle says.
What?
What's her username?
You can't just breeze past it. Wait, what?
That's her username. The elusive Danger
wow.
Noodle. Hashtag postmortem. If you had to permanently live at one of the places you've visited on the show, which would it be?
That is an amazing question.
Good question.
Elusive Danger Noodle.
So,
you've done it.
that's a good question. That's maybe the best question we've ever had.
I'm gonna say that might be that's a top 3-er.
Well, that is an absolute banger of a cue.
We should slap that question on the backdrop.
Oh, sorry about the weird backdrop this week.
Oh yeah, we addressed it eventually, right? Yeah, we got evicted.
Yeah. Anyway, you know what?
Shane didn't pay the bills.
You know what? That question deserves a horse kiss.
What the
That's what we do for good questions around
so
here.
gross. You know how many people have like just manhandled that horse?
So where would you live? Where would you live? It's a toss-up for me between Winchester, because
Ooh, that's good.
the
Yes.
house is cool. It might get annoying walking around there all the time, but it's big. You know, a lot of room. And the other one may be Via Montezuma.
I was about to say, I think that
Because Via Montezuma was a gorgeous house.
it had the whimsy of Winchester with none of the ghosts.
Yeah.
I'd like to say Via Montezuma because that place isn't haunted. So that's where I'd go. Burned! I got you 2 seasons later.
I can't believe that was our season finale.
Roast mortem, baby! Get that energy up! Roast mortem!
Summon the flames from hell!
Ah! Here's from Mad Maddie 23 for Roast Mortem. Did a vibe check on this episode, and Jesus, your vibes? Absolutely rancid and disgusting!
Not exactly clever as much as it is hurtful.
Yeah!
This comes from Kylie Foster from YouTube.
Kylie Foster!
Every time I see Shane,
What?
I'm reminded of the he's sexy but in a rat kind of way post. Reposting this on this video for Roast Mortem.
Deal with it!
Do you look like a sexy? What the fuck?
Back on over to Kiddish Cup from Grahamtown. When the show cuts to y'all listening to something in the studio, you both look like 2 abandoned greasy fries in a McDonald's takeout order. I'm having a hard time even comprehending what you mean by
Oh
that.
my god, you're gonna pass out. Take a breath. Take a breath. The turtleneck's a little too
What does
tight.
that mean? What? I saw someone on YouTube.
We're in the middle of a segment.
Wait, but this is fun. I don't remember who it was, but someone in the YouTube comments said, "Why do they call it a lighthouse? Looks pretty heavy to me."
That's good. That's pretty good, actually. That is good. That is good.
Shut up! Ryan, what do we got coming up this week on BuzzFeed Unsolved? Supernatural Season 6, Episode 3.
I don't wanna rock the boat with this one, but let's just say it's a spicy one. It's a naughty cool one.
Yeah.
Okay, that does it for this episode of BuzzFeed Unsolved Postmortem. Make sure you watch the episode this Friday and send in your questions to the BuzzFeed Unsolved Facebook page, the BuzzFeed Unsolved Instagram page, or comment directly on the video on Bun, and maybe you might be in the next BuzzFeed Unsolved Postmortem. Are you trying to confuse the new viewers? Is that what you're trying to do here?
Always.
First off, you're confusing them with your wardrobe, and then you come in at the end, you're talking over our little message. What's wrong with you?
We have fun. The point is we have fun here, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in,
You really are
guys.
evil jobs.
We'll see you next week.